Good morning, students. In the last session, we saw the explanation of the poem Nine Gold Medal. We have already seen the explanation of the first four stanzas. Then we saw in these four stanzas that the many athletes had gathered together from all over the country to participate in the Commonwealth game, and then in order to win gold or silver or bronze for their country, they had practiced hard and had taken training for many weeks and months in order to participate in the competition. Then we saw it was the final event of the day, that was a 100-meter race. The excitement of the participants and the spectators were very specially mentioned. And then he says the 9 athletes who were supposed to be taking part in the 100-meter race was waiting for the signal to start, and then suddenly the signal was given, the pistol exploded, and then the runners charged ahead. But change happens, and the smallest one among them, the weakest one among them, lost his balance, and then he fell on the ground. This much we have already seen. Now we shall go to the next stanza. That is, he gave out a cry of frustration and anguish. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. But as sure as I am standing here telling the story, now it is strange one, but here is what occurred. So let us see the word meanings of this stanza. He gave a outcry of frustration. What does meaning frustration? Frustration means hopelessness, the feeling of sadness. Then we have anguish. What does mean anguish? Anguish means the mental pain, more than the physical pain, the mental pain that the person experiences. Then we have got here the next line, his dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. Dashed in the dirt means, here we have dashed in the dirt means came to nothing, came to nothing. Then we have, but as sure as I am standing here telling the story, that is the poet himself. Now it's a strange one, but here is what occurred. Occurred means what happened. Occurred means what happened. So let us see the meaning of this stanza. He gave out a cry of frustration and anguish. What does that mean? The athlete, the youngest one among them who fell down, gave out a cry of disappointment, of hopelessness, of sadness. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the hurt. More than the physical pain of falling down, what he felt as if all his dreams and efforts of winning the medal were broken and destroyed. That was his cry. The frustration and anguish was because of that, that his dreams are all broken. But as sure I am standing here telling the story. Here we have the poet saying precisely that moment something unexpected and something surprising happens. So nothing something now it's a strange, what I say is now it's strange, something unexpected, something strange happens that time, occurred, that something happens. So the poet says that the fallen contestant, the youngest one among them who fell down, was distressed, disappointed, because his dreams were all shattered. He gave out a cry in frustration because his hard work had come to nothing. That was his feeling. Then he feels at that present moment something unexpected, something surprising happens. So we shall move to the next stanza now. We have the next stanza here. The 8 other athletes who stopped in their tracks, the one who had trained for so long to compete, one by one turned round and came back to help him and lifted the lad to his feet. So let's see the difficult words of this stanza. So here we see The eight other athletes stopped in their tracks. Track means the path, that line where they were running. The one who had trained, the one means every athlete, these participants. The ones here means all those participants who had been trained for competing in this competition. One by one, they turned round and then came to help him, lifted the lad to his feet. What does that meaning? Helped the lad here means the boy to his feet, enabled him to stand up. So here we see this stanza. In the sixth stanza, we have got the eight other athletes. We already know there were nine of them and one had fallen. So the other eight stopped in their tracks because of the loud cry of the one who fell down. They all stopped wherever they were. The one who had trained for so long to compete. These people could have simply followed or continued their race, but then these people who have been practicing tirelessly for months and weeks together one by one turned round and came back to help him. So see, the athletes who had been training for so long in order to win gold or bronze or silver stopped at the fall of their own companion, their own contestant who were racing with them, and then turned around and came back to help him. So they all turned around, walked behind in order to help the person who had fallen down. Then each of them held a hand and then lifted the lad to his feet, helped the boy to stand on his feet. So we see in this stanza the poet says that though though the contestants were uh, concerned about winning gold, silver, or bronze, the eight runners, on seeing the athlete fall, instead of continuing the race, they stopped, turned back in order to help him. All the athletes had trained for so long to compete and win, but each of them stopped, helping the boy to stand on his feet. So let us see the next stanza we have here. Then all the runners joined hands and continued. The 100-meter reduced to a walk, and the banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been nearer the mark. So let us see the difficult words of this stanza. Then all nine runners joined hands and continued. 100-meter reduced to walk. Reduced to a walk means it came down to a walk rather than a race. And banner above that said Special Olympics. The banner that was above the screen showed that Special Olympics. It was a Special Olympic because the participants were specially abled children, could not have been nearer the mark. So the what was written there and at present what is happening in the ground was almost the same. So what he says in the next stanza, he says, all the 9 athletes, all the 9 athletes joined hands and continued. So they joined hands and walked to the finishing line together. Then 100 meters reduced to a walk. So instead of racing now, they just finished the race by walking. The race was that meant for running was then reduced to a walk. The banner above that said Special Olympics. So the banner above which read Special Olympic was appropriate, was suitable, was apt as the contestants' behavior added to the uniqueness of the event. Instead of they continuing their run, they stopped, held the boy, and along with the rest of the contestants, he also walked. So all nine of them walking towards the finishing line. That was something unique, and the Special Olympic that was written on the banner became true. Now we have the last stanza. That's how the race ended with the 9 gold medals. They came uh, to the finish line holding hands still, and the banner above and 9 smiling faces said more than these words ever will, said more than these words ever will. So here we see in this then that's how the race ended, how all 9 of them holding the hands together with the 9 gold medals. So all of them gets a gold medal. All of them becomes prize winners. All of them together becomes the first prize holders. They came to finish the line holding hands still. So they held the hand together and walked to finish towards the ending point. And the banner above and 9 smiling faces. The banner above written Special Olympics, and the 9 smiling faces of the contestants said more than these words ever will. So the smiling faces of the contestants read more than the banner that was written above. So it means the smiling faces of the contestant proclaimed more than words what would ever tell the truth of the banner. So we see here the race had ended with not one but 9 winners. Each of them was given a gold medal for they walked hand in hand to the finishing line. The exemplary behavior of the athletes made the Special Olympics really a special one. So I hope now you understood the poem, The 9 Gold Medals. We see in this poem the disabled athletes who had come from different countries to participate in the Special Olympic. And then the poem is concentrating on the last race that was about to begin. The athletes takes their position, and then the spectators were cheering them. Once the race started, one of them, who was weakest or smallest among them, falls down on the rock and cries in pain. The other 8 contestants rushed to help him, and then later on, all 9 of them walks together to the finishing line, and all were honored with the gold medal. So the spirit of empathy was truly recognized and rewarded by the athlete organizers. So we have the poet is bringing about mainly 2 themes. The first one is the empathy, and the second one true sportsmanship. So what does meaning empathy? Empathy is the ability to understand another person's feeling from the point of view of his own experience. So here it means to put your self into another's shoe. That means we make ourselves in the place of another person. So this is a human value that is projected through the imaginary situation of the poem 9 Gold Medal. Then we have got another theme the poet wants to emphasize is the true sportsmanship. Today, every field we find that people trying to compete and put others down and then show themselves off. Here we see mm, the poem where the rest of the 8 comes to help the fallen athlete. So here the poet says that the sports persons are trained to be ruthless in their approach, but their only aim is to win at any cost. But here the poem 8 contestant forget all their dream and then comes to help the person who has fallen down. We had already seen that is an inspirational poem that is written by Ruth, and then he presents a very simple imaginary situation with ending with a special note that true victory lies in being helpful and cooperative. So here he says that one could not have won the race without being without showing empathy to the other in the group. So we have got the poem, the rhyme scheme that is followed. We see that no specific rhyme scheme is followed, but in the first stanza we find no rhyming words as such. But in the second stanza we have got here the second line and the fourth line. that is men, and begin, a rhyming scheme that is followed. And then same way we find in third, fourth, sixth, seventh also like these words here. So we find the form that is followed is A B C B. It's A B and then C B. So in order to convey the fact that the Special Olympic was really special, the poet uses repetition as a device for all. So here in the last stanza we have the last line being repeated. See, look at that. I said more than these words. Here, said more than these words ever will. Said more than these words ever will. This is a repetition the poet uses in order to give emphasis. So here, example for the use of inversion. Inversion, that means the poet using the format, the figure of speech inversion. Then we have so many alliteration in this poem that as you go forward, you will be able to find out. So I hope you have understood the poem by now. You must read the poem once again, go through the stanza wise explanation, and then the critical appreciation. Mm, then you can go forward with your question answers. So we are finishing with the poem now. All four lessons for board exam we have finished. So what I must request you is to do the work in the workbook. So your homework is completing all four lessons question answers, and your project work is, mark please, your project work is to write the theme, the poem in detail, and critical appreciation. The three things from your workbook, that is poem in detail, the theme, and the critical appreciation. There are so many points in the critical appreciation given. So you will write them for your project. You will write the lesson number as we have been doing in the class 9. The project will be, you will have to write all four lessons, theme, poem in detail, and critical appreciation. If you are able to get some picture from the net, you may use them in the left hand side. What is to be written on the first page, you are already well aware. First page, second page, and then the introduction. All these you are very familiar because we have already done it in the class 9. So follow the same format and write the project work that will be all four lessons, poem in detail, theme, and critical appreciation. Now we'll be beginning with the short stories in the coming classes. So till then, try to complete your workbook, and when you get time, start with your project work. So stay home, be happy. Thank you.